All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day so far today. Today, we are going to talk about F words, and that hopefully got your attention, and hopefully I don't get fired. There's another F word. But anyway, we're going to talk about F words. Before we get to that, though, I want to help you understand that we have 3 days left of school in one aspect. We have today, then when we see each other on Monday, and then on Wednesday. So we really have 3 days to then learn some stuff so that then we could be tested or quizzed on the following Friday. So we got 3 days of school, and then we're going to be tested or quizzed, and then we got exams. And so we really only have 3 days to do anything new. And so as I was looking at the book and seeing all the things that we're not going to get to that I wish we normally would, I had to kind of just go, okay, well, then what do we need to get to right now? And if this is, almost your last math class, you're going, well, I'm going to go get into college and take one more. Or if this is, the beginning of a long list because you want to go into engineering or computer science or something like that. Either way, you would have to know about one of these F words. And so I thought what we'll do is we'll focus in on that one today, really the fundamentals of it. And, there's another F word. And then we will kind of look at different parts of it in those next 2 days. So I need everyone to have something with which to write and something on which to write because we got to get going. All right, I'm going to take about 5 or 10 minutes on this first video just to kind of get rolling. So let's talk about the F words. The F words for today are the 5 fundamentals of fantastically fun functions. See, look at all those F words, okay? And that's what we're doing. We're going to talk about the 5 fundamentals of functions. If you are taking one more math class, I promise you'll see a ton of functions in it. If you're taking a bunch of more math classes, you need to deeply understand functions. This is an important concept. And really, even if you're not taking other math classes, a function, you're going to see functions just in every form in graphs, on the news, in newspapers, in any kind of media where they're trying to show you some connection between different variables and real things that are going on in the world. So anyway, we're going to dive right in. So my first question is, what in the world how would you define a function? Everyone should be able to do this, but I'm guessing that there's a few people who can. And so I always ask people, what is a function in real life? And yesterday I got some great answers, and one student was really kind of working on saying, well, it's something that kind of does something else and something that, and I thought that's great. If nothing else, you should realize that a function is an action. It's something that is happening. If I walked into a big factory and saw some little robotic component along this assembly line, I might ask, what is that robot's function? What is it there to do to something so that then it is different? And that's really what a function is. A function is this idea of action and of doing. And so let's talk about what the definition of a function is. A function is a mathematical, let's make sure I spell that right, mathematical relationship. It's a mathematical relationship that assigns exactly one. Now this is an important thing, exactly one, not just one, it assigns exactly one output for any given input. Okay? I get a little ugly. There we go. Input. Sorry, I know the writing is kind of sloppy today. Okay, so a function is a mathematical relationship that assigns exactly one output for any given input. Okay, and so this is key. This is obviously really key. This shows us a lot of things that are going on here. And first I want to kind of talk about this idea of exactly one. What in the world are we saying when we say exactly one? That's the smallest highlighter ever. There we go, exactly one. What are we talking about that? And so when we say exactly one, it'd be like if you turn to someone right now and say, hey, I don't have anything I can write with. You got a pencil? And they would probably say, yes, I have a pencil. But that doesn't mean they only have one. I mean, they might open up their bag and, man, they got like 12 of them. But they would say, I have a pencil. Even though you ask, hey, do you have one pencil I can use? Yeah, I got one. But that doesn't, so when we say I've got one, sometimes we're saying I've got one of many. And so for this one, we say exactly one because it's not one of many. It's only one, no more and no less. A function is a mathematical relationship that assigns exactly one output for any given input. No more and no less. It's like this. It's like if I put in the number 3 and I get out 4 million, then every time I put in the number 3, I'm going to get out 4 million. It has only one output for that input. And so when I put in 3, I don't have to wonder, am I going to get 4 million this time, or am I going to get 2 million or -5? Now, here's the thing. This is a little bit weird. Hang with me. So while every time I put in 3, I might get 4 million, that doesn't mean that it's a problem that if I put in 6, I get 4 million. I want you to understand this. This is kind of weird. But see, this says it assigns exactly one output for every input. So this means that every time you input 3, you're going to get 4 million. Okay? So you input 3, you get 4 million. Input 3, you get 4 million. You don't have to wonder. Every time, it's 4 million. Well, there's nothing wrong that when you input 6, you might also get 4 million. Okay? It doesn't say there's every input has a unique output. It says every input, there is exactly one output for every input. It doesn't say it's unique. It just says it's exactly one. You don't have to wonder. All right, so if I was going to describe functions, as I used to when I taught Algebra 1, I'd say functions are best kind of compared to an oven in your kitchen. And you think about this. If you're talking about an oven, it's not really a mystery. If you put in brownie batter and you wait 20 minutes at 350 degrees, you pull out brownies, okay? You don't put in brownie batter and sometimes get out brownies. And you put in brownie batter and sometimes pull out a turkey. And put in brownie batter and sometimes pull out ribs. Like, that doesn't happen. You put something in and it assigns an output and then you pull something out. Now, but also, let's say your oven has a little bit of a malfunction and it always bakes things at 4,000 degrees. Well, then it wouldn't matter what you put in, you would always pull out ash. Okay, I put in brownie batter, I pull out ash. I put in a turkey, I pull out ash. And so it's okay if everything comes to one spot as long as it always goes to that spot. Okay, and I know this might be still a difficult concept to understand, and I'm sorry I'm not there today. But we got to remember that a function is a mathematical relationship that assigns exactly one output for any given input. All right, so let's move on. So first, let's take a look at this. How in the world would I read this? Just so you don't sound, goofy. If I had to see this in the book, I would literally read that. I would read that f of x is equal to x squared. That's literally how I'd read that. I'd look at this and go, f of x is equal to x squared. This isn't f times x or f parentheses x. It's f of x is equal to x squared. Or the function of f is f of x is equal to x squared. Now, it doesn't matter if I have f of x or g of x or h of x. This f is not connected to the word function. It's just the letter they decided to start using. But you'll see a lot of functions that'll be g of x or h of x. Sometimes you'll see an I of x or a j of x, and those are all okay. Those can all be functions. It doesn't mean that if it doesn't have an f, it can't be a function. Okay, those can all be functions, and those are fine. All right. Now, we have got to get into notice I've got f to the 5th power. That is the 5 fundamentals of fantastically fun functions. Number 1. And the first fundamental would be evaluating a function. All right, now if we were working with that idea of that function we just had a second ago, f of x is equal to x squared, we should be able to evaluate that function. And so to evaluate that function, we would say, well, if I've got f of -3, that means I input -3 into that function. F of -3 would then be equal to -3 squared, which would be the same thing as -3 times -3, which would clearly be +9. If I said f of 5, that would just put that into my function up here, that would be 5 squared, which would be equal to 5 times 5, which is 25. And if I said f of -2/3, that would be, well, -2/3 squared. So therefore, I square it, I multiply it by itself, I get a positive, and I would get +4/9. All right. Hopefully you understand the first fundamental of functions, evaluating functions. This has got to be the easiest part. And so what I'm going to have you do is we're going to pause the video in just a second. It's time for you to try it. Okay, so I want you to evaluate the following three inputs for this given function of f right here. F of x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 7. Okay, instead of pausing the video, I think we're just going to stop the video right here, and then in the next video, we'll pick up at how these problems are done. So take about 5 minutes or less, and you should be able to get each one of these done. Make sure you work them out completely. All right, thank you very much.